Guessed it, I'm doing a movie review today because I feel like it. It's not something I've done all that much of before, so I thought I'd review a movie I've seen recently, which happens to be Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer. Yeah, I never thought I'd have to put those words together in one sentence either. But on the other hand, it was quite an interesting and curious movie. As far as watchability is concerned, it definitely had the watchability component, but the movie itself was about rather cliche. If you were to see it as like a standalone movie in its own right, it would remind you, shall we say, of lots of other Hollywood-style movies of many different eras and genres. Most of the scenes you have probably seen in one form or another, or one interpretation or another, somewhere before, and it just seems like all these scenes were strung together, but people were wearing like period costume. The story is based upon the war of the North American continent against the South. But the justification for this battle is that the Southerners were using slavery as a means of satisfying and satiating the vampires, and the fact that, all the Southerners were vampires, really, and so it was a victory of God being non-vampire people against evil being people who've become vampires. Yeah. So in some ways it was like a thinly disguised attempt to teach the important aspects of American history to a generation which is probably a little more obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, etc., and so on and so forth. So in some respects it fell short of the mark, but it was definitely a good laugh. If what you're looking for in a movie is something which is highly intellectual, very engaging and soulful, you will certainly not find it with Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer. If you're looking for something which is kitsch, a bit of a laugh, and will make you smile, then it's probably the best movie that you'll ever see. That's what I watched it for, and that's what I wanted to watch it for. But of course, the message is that of essentially Independence Day, the sense of goodness, or some classic American values winning over some other classic American values. I would actually recommend it, but I think you've got to be in the right frame of mind when you go and see it. It's too camp, really, to be taken even remotely seriously, but is definitely worthwhile giving a bit of a butcher's hook, as we say in England.